All right, guys, we're back again. Session 2, part 2 of today. We have our special guest, Richard Anthony, who was on last week, who was on earlier today. We're going to do another session just because we ran out of time. Instagram only gives us 60 minutes to do these live sessions, which I completely understand why. But sometimes people are at work or they're at lunch or whatever, and they're doing certain things, and I don't want to miss out or have you guys tune in like the last 10 minutes, and then we get a lot of questions and stuff like that, and then, I got to end it. So normally, whenever the momentum is flowing and good, then I'll usually just try to do a part 2 and let you guys chop it up with me more than the normal time. So we did leave off with a question from Tippy Yo. Ask that question again for me, Tippy. We would like to know again. Ask the question again. We're going to wait for some more people to file in here that was on the previous live. Again, answering anything, everything real estate related. If you have any comments or questions, drop them in the question section. I did not know that Instagram does this, but if you type your question into the question bar, you can post a question on there. I think that's pretty damn cool. What's up, Devin? How you living, brother, out there in Texas, man? Stay safe. Reggie. Reggie said, "Where's Tiffany's question?" Tiffany, you gotta ask that question again because we want to get to it. But yeah, again, any questions? Drop it in the question portion so we can post it on the live thing. So when people go back and view these episodes, they can see your actual question. Oh damn, you didn't post it on the thing. We're gonna wait for Richard to come join. But what are your thoughts on purchasing a house in an unsafe neighborhood based on price for the purpose of renting it out? If you are a first-time home buyer, now would this be okay for the purpose of renting it out? So you're not going to live in there. I'm gonna assume that you're not going to be living in there, and you're trying to buy a rental property in a more urban area. I'm gonna assume that's what you're asking. I had this conversation the other day. So ROI is important, right? When you're buying these houses, when you're buying these rental properties, ROI is important, right? Because when you're buying these homes, when you're buying these rentals, you're buying them with the intention of making a profit, right? And when you buy and you spend your hard-earned money and you finally put a tenant in there, what you want to do is make sure you're getting the best ROI that's going to make you happy, right? The reason I'm saying this is because depending on the area you're in will dictate what kind of clientele what kind of tenants you're going to attract and what kind of headaches you're going to deal with. Now, don't get me wrong, any market, no matter whether you're in the richest of neighborhoods or the poorest of neighborhoods, you're going to run into problems when it comes to tenants. What's going on, Chevron Jones? How you living, man? State rep down there in Florida doing the thing, man. How you living? Glad to have a state representative from Florida in the building. Anyway, Chevron, we talk about everything real estate related Q&A session. So I don't know if you down there in South Florida buying up property, anything like that. Make sure you can feel free to ask us a question. It's great to have you on. Much appreciated. Hey man, we get some traction up in this thing, man. Appreciate it. I do this every Thursday, 12 o'clock, answering everything real estate. If you got a question, I don't know if you do, maybe just stopping by. We appreciate you. Rep Chevron Jones, y'all vote for my man down there in South Florida doing the thing for the people. For the people, baby, for the people. Stay safe, too, Florida. Anybody down there in Florida, y'all stay safe. Wear a mask. I'm up here in Baltimore, but I'm still a Florida native. Wear a mask down there in Florida. Make sure y'all stay safe. Protect everybody else. We're going to get back to this question. So when it comes to the ROI, when you are buying in these areas, you want to make sure the headache is the money is worth the headache, right? So if you're buying in a more urban area, you don't want to do all this buying and putting tenants in there and only receiving $200 in rent, right? You're going to deal with more headaches. You're going to deal with more problems, right? And when it comes to only dealing with those problems and only collecting $200, $100 in rent, ask yourself, is that really going to be worth it, right? In a scenario where it is worth it is if you buy right, if you buy low enough, and you create a large enough buffer between your mortgage and your rent rate to where it does become worth it. So for me personally, if I'm buying my first rental property and I'm in a more urban area, guess what? I'm trying to make sure that I'm going to be at least collecting, $400 or $500, right? Because that's, to me, that's what's worth it to me. Right? You're going to deal with evictions. You're going to deal with complaints. You're going to deal with hostility sometimes. You're going to deal with all of that. I got Richard. And I usually say this to everybody. As long as it's worth it to you, the amount of money that you're going to bring in for that rental property, cool. If not, and you're only going to be collecting $100, that's not worth your time. That's not worth your investment. You want to make sure it's worth it to you. So run the numbers, your ROI. Right? What percentage at the end of the day, after I pay my mortgage, after I pay the insurance, after I put a sum aside for maintenance and all that kind of stuff, what is my take home? And if the take home is only a couple bucks, reevaluate whether that deal is going to be worth it or not. In some areas where they're nicer areas, you can collect a higher rent, and you might not deal with some of the problems you're going to find in other more urban areas, right? It just depends, right? So that's how I look at it. I would evaluate the deal based on that. Not saying to not buy in those kind of areas, because you can, but just make sure you're taking home enough money that's going to make the headaches and the things worth it for you in the long run. Rich, Tiffany asked the same question. And it was, what are your thoughts on purchasing a house in an unsafe neighborhood based on price for the purpose of renting it out if you are buying your first home, basically, your first rental?
Unsafe neighborhood.
Yeah.
So one thing is with unsafe or undesirable neighborhoods is, one, will you be able to hire a property manager? Because certain property managers will deny managing a certain property if they don't want to deal with that neighborhood or certain, tenants that seem like they'll be troublesome.
Yep.
And then two, if it's unsafe to where you can't hire a property manager, or do you feel safe enough to handle and deal with the property yourself? So that's kind of my take on it. So it's more so of, can you hire the job out? And then if you can't hire the job out, can you, or you okay doing it yourself? And that kind of makes all the difference as far as buying the property in an unsafe neighborhood. But again, what's deemed unsafe for some is normal for others. Yep. So, as long as it's not too unsafe to where nobody wants to rent the property, because you don't want to buy a property and then nobody wants to live there because there's a shooting on the block every week. So just, kind of be weary of, what you can do with the property as far as it being in a undesirable location.
Yeah. And property managers look at it the same way we look at it. Is it worth their time? Is it worth their money? I've run into a couple of property managers that say they only manage in specific areas because they find themselves running after chasing tenants in these specific zip codes more than they do others, and it wastes their time and resources, so they're not able to focus on other things. Not saying that others won't, but again, you got to look at return on investment. Is it worth my time and my money to invest in these areas? I'm not saying don't, because that's going to be your own cup of tea, your own, whatever, your threshold is, that's on you, right? But look at it from that perspective. If I'm going to buy this area and I'm only collecting $200, but I'm dealing with headaches every month, every week, you can make $200 doing something else. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I look at it from that perspective. I have bought, to your point where you say it depends on your own threshold. Like what might be hood to you might not be hood to somebody else.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They might look at it like, hey, I'm cool in this area. I'm good on any block. There's people like that, right? It just depends on you.
On one of the first properties I bought when I was living in New York, and I bought the property in Florida, I do remember the first property manager that I called off of just doing a Google search told me no, they do not service the area that the property was in, and I was like, all right, cool.
All
Hang up,
right,
call the next person. Like, no pressure. Like, all right, y'all, they were of a lighter skin tone, so they didn't want to go to that area. And I'm like, all right, can't force you to do that, so cool. But then found another property management company that was like, yeah, no problem. We have no
Yeah.
problem managing this, for you. We actually have a couple of tenants who are looking to stay in that area with great payroll or great pay, but not necessarily great credit. And they were asking if
Yeah.
you can make certain, and that's just the certain things you have to deal with when you do buy an area that isn't as desirable or as upkept as others. Is you may have to give some leeway as far as credit requirement, or well, you don't necessarily want to do like decrease your pay requirement, but your credit
No.
requirement you may have to fluctuate on and stuff like that, because there are
Yeah.
folks who make great money and then just have bad credit.
True. Bad credit. Something might have happened with student loans or whatever. But like I say, they make good money. They're good people. You never know who you're really going to get, right? Like you can
Right.
tell based on the credit and the money, but sometimes that's not the actual story. And you get somebody in there and they can be completely different. You never know.
Yeah.
Tenants are always, a crapshoot, but you do your best. You do your best to try to create a good judgment based off the information they have provided to you, So
One thing that
we,
I do, like usually not pass or not be lenient on is past evictions though.
yeah,
I don't really
yeah.
I'm not too lenient on anybody or ever really lenient on anybody that has a past eviction, just because it's a bad track record of just, responsibilities, or even if, the fact that you let it get to the point of eviction,
Yeah.
rather than finding alternative means, or, moving in with family, or trying to just find a cheaper apartment in, the soon neighborhood. I don't know. Like, I know certain individuals have certain circumstances, but as far as evictions, I'm not too lenient on evictions.
Yeah, I agree. One thing I can add to that is when you're looking at applications and they're talking about their previous places that they've rented and they have like the quote unquote property manager on there and it's really like their friend.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, just be wary of that too. But yeah, you want to do your best to thoroughly, check out the tenant's past. There's some things you're going to give, and there's some things you're going to take. Credit, again, if you're in a lower income area, you're not going to be finding 800 credit scores and 750 credit scores, or your house is going to be on the market for a while, right? So you're going to
yeah.
have to drop your requirements when it comes to those kind of things. So it's a situational thing that you're going to have to decide on your own, but you just try to make the best judgment you can when it comes to buying in those places and also putting tenants in those areas too as well.
Yep.
You know, we got some couple people on the joint back here. We got Reggie. We had State Rep Chevron Jones in here earlier. Kai the King, sax therapist, your lethal dose, Ashad, Quan, Jasmine Kayana, Miss Ree, Naughty My Nature. That's funny. In the Know came back. Chill Will. What's going on, y'all? Appreciate you guys for joining in. Again, we're back session twos, I guess, of the day. We did have an hour-long session before, but we had some good traction and good questions, so we extended it and opened up another session for you guys. So feel free to drop all your questions, anything you want to ask in the question bar down below, so we can put it on the screen. If you got, like I said, Rich is investor. He's down there in Atlanta. I'm up here in Baltimore. So this is our second time doing it, second week, Thursdays, 12 o'clock, where we're answering everything for you guys. I was going to ask, while we wait on more questions, Rich, I was going to ask you, since we're actually on the topic, I think this is really be good based on your experience and my experience, and it will help them when it comes to their buying. What are some of the, give me like a couple things that criteria wise that you look for when you buy properties? What are some of the things that will deter you from buying a property in a specific area? What are some of those things that you look
Deter me?
for? Yes,
Termites.
termites.
I don't do termites, and I don't like properties that have foundation issues.
Mm, mm.
Um, so yeah, those are probably the two things that and then also I think depending on the damage, but fire damage. So if there's a
Yeah,
home that may have like a kitchen fire or something like that, if it wasn't anything bad that messed up the property structurally,
yeah,
just because you think it messed up just this beam or just this support truss, and the next thing you know, the fire actually burned, a lot more than you can see. Um, and it can just like throw your budget way off. But so
yeah,
yeah, termites I don't like to deal with, and I don't like to deal with foundation issues.
yeah, yeah. Understood. Foundation issues could be
A big headache, man.
yeah,
So that's
and
something I don't. But as far as criteria, what I look for, the most popular style home, or at least was, is a 3 bedroom, 2 bath. At least I would say 1,100, 1,200 square feet. That's slightly changing as family sizes are growing.
yep,
People are you looking for more so of like a 4 bed, 2.5 bath type home.
yeah,
As far as for rentals or even for resale value, but the standard is at least 3 bedrooms, at least 2 bathrooms in the property, and
yeah,
at least really depending on the neighborhood, you can go down to like 900 square feet.
yeah,
But with a 3 bedroom, 2 bath is kind of small. So I would say with 3 bed, 2 bath, I say at least 1,100 to 1,200 square feet. Um,
yes,
and yeah, that's pretty much it.
yeah. We've got some of the similar things in common. I know for sure, like I've learned that as far as like what I don't want when it comes from a criteria,
Hmm.
I can't be next to a board up. Uh, don't want to be next to a
Okay.
board up. And I say that I'm contradicting myself because I literally have a 3 unit next to a board up right now. So it's if the deal was good, so it's like all right, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
board ups. I try to stay away from one way streets. Um,
That's a reminder too. Okay. I
yeah,
stay away from houses on major streets. So if there
yes,
are, if the, in the
double
way you
line
know it's a
road.
major street, yeah, double yellow line is a double yellow line road, and on the street that the house is on, I stay away from it just because that is major traffic. Getting in and out of your
Yes,
driveway is one of the hardest things to do, and it's like kind of the downfall for anybody looking to move into the house that may have kids that want to play on the front lawn or anything. They can't because the speed limit on that street is above 45 or 40 miles an hour, um,
yeah,
and just like heavy traffic.
yeah, most
So yeah,
definitely.
that's one thing.
It can be
Speaking of the double
problematic,
lines, so
you
yeah,
know.
double yellow lines
Yeah, double
for
lines.
sure.
What I got? Board ups, double lines. Um, corner lots.
Stay away from corner lots.
I
I don't mind corner lots, especially for
cor-
townhomes. Like
corner.
townhomes, the corner lot is
Yeah,
usually more
the
more
corner
attractive.
lot. The corner lot. You know, like if you turn into a street off a main
Hmm.
street, and you got the corner lot is right there, like it's right there on the main street. So
Okay,
all the cars
I
are
see what you're saying.
whipping by. If I'm at
Yeah,
the
yeah,
top
yeah.
of the neighborhood, I'm like, eh. Um, I don't think I have anything else. I know I do. I just can't think of it right now. Uh, I've done mold. You can do mold remediation. Um,
Yeah,
uh, that's all I can think of right now. But when it comes to actually buying, same some of the similar things. So up here in Baltimore, we have basements. So yes, I'm looking for anything that's 1,000, 1,200 square feet. If it's below that, I would prefer if it had a basement, but not just a basement, but a functional basement, meaning like it's got the correct height. So if I finish it, I can add that
yep,
square footage. And so I'm instead of 800, I might be at 1,100.
right.
So square footage, 3 beds, 2 baths. I'm okay with 3 beds, 1 bath. If I can add another bath,
Yeah, I was about to
Um,
say, usually 3 bedrooms, you don't like to share one bathroom as a family.
exactly. What else? Obviously, it's got to be a decent neighborhood. I got to be able to go out, and if I'm walking around and I see that, it's just if I see that there's a lot of activity out, illegal activity. There's sometimes you pull up, there's illegal activity right there on your doorstep. Like,
Exactly.
I don't know about that. So it's got to be a nice street, desirable street. I don't have too much criteria. As long as the price is good and it's in a decent area, and I got the size, I got the square footage, and it's not just a completely different house than what's in that specific street or in that specific neighborhood, I'm okay. You know what I'm saying? I'm very much okay with it.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, we got another question. Let's see, we got some more people. GME 92 Golden Boy, what's going on? He said the guys with the strong arm emoji and fire. Lux Savant, how you doing? Naughty by Nature is writing notes. GME 92 says thanks for all of this. Looking to move into the area from out of state. Would you recommend buying off jump or renting first? I'm going to get to that question after I get to Naughty by Nature's question, which is first time. Let's see what we got. First time property buyer. I want a house but want to rent while buying. Should I look toward multifamily or single family and sacrifice that space? Good question. Good question. Good question. Multifamily is where it's at, and I'll speak from Baltimore. A lot of people
Okay.
want multis here in Baltimore, um, because they want to do the house hack thing. They want to live in one space and then rent out the other space. Completely understandable. What you'll find here in Baltimore, and I don't know where you are, Nani, my nature, what market you're in, but there's not, uh, multis are hard to find, right? And if you do
Yeah.
find them, the prices are jacked up. They're highly desirable, especially if they function as a multi-unit. A lot of times you'll find a multi will function as a single family, meaning electric, plumbing, and all that stuff is not separated, and then it's not really a functioning multi, but you got to deal with utilities and things like that after. But multis are hiked up in price, especially if they're on the market. Um, if you can find one, get one uh, at a decent price. But for the most part, a lot of the inventory out here is jacked up, and it kind of prices people out, and it doesn't even make sense to even buy, even if you are putting a tenant in place. That's just here. But for your purposes, first-time property owner, yes, if you can find a multi-unit and you can get it at a decent price, it goes to what we've been saying a couple times in the show already. Put that tenant in there and have them pay your mortgage and bring home a little bread at the end of the day, right? The single family can only function uh, really one way as a single family. You're paying the mortgage, and if somebody else is not living there, you're not doing a shared space or a shared Airbnb space. The house is not bringing in any money. You know what I'm saying? So,
Well,
um,
I have a homegirl actually. She kind of house hacks her way through single family houses. So she bought her first
oh,
property in Atlanta, 4 bedroom, and then she just, I think, like word of mouth, friends of friends. She stayed in the master and rented out the other 3 bedrooms to 3 other individuals.
separately?
Yeah, separately. Yeah,
Oh, she's
yeah,
hey, she's trill.
yeah. So she did that, and from the money she made off of that, she bought her second property in Atlanta,
Oh,
and she
wow.
did her second property is completely just Airbnb. It's a
Yeah.
3 bedroom, 2 baths. She put bunk beds in 2 of the bedrooms, so it sleeps up to 10. She was making money off of the house hack and the property she was living in when she was renting out 3 bedrooms, and then also making money off of the Airbnb. So now she was able to afford, and this is all year after year, basically.
Wow.
She was able to afford her third house. So the third house, nicer than the first one she bought. So she moved into the third house, master bedroom, and then the master bedroom she was in for her first house, she rented that out. So that is completely rented out room by room separately. And
Wow.
then her second one's still Airbnb, and then her third one did the same thing she did with the first. She's staying in the master and renting out all three,
Wow.
or she's renting
Yeah.
two of the 3 rooms, and to guys. too. So like word of mouth to
Wow.
guys, and she says she's loving it. Like she doesn't have to pay a mortgage. She owns 3 properties and pays not one mortgage, not one like none of the property taxes, insurance, all that is covered. Especially because when you're renting room by room, you make more money than if you rent out the whole house. So
Yes.
let's say you have a 4 bedroom house or 3 bedroom. Let's say you have a 3 bedroom house, and you could rent that house for say $1,200.
Right.
That is $400 a room. Now, if you were actually just to do it room by room lease, you could probably charge $600 a room.
A
So now you're
room.
getting 1,800 instead of 1,200 because people are on individual leases. Now you're dealing with three individuals rather than one individual renting the whole house,
Yeah.
but it's a way to make $600 more a month, simply by renting out the rooms separately. You see
Yeah.
that a lot like for college. So when students, they're living in a house, they have either, everybody's on one lease, but you're upcharging, or you have separate leases for each bedroom.
Yeah.
And that way you make a lot more money as far as house hacking the bedroom. So even if you like what you're doing right now, where you have a duplex and you're renting out one side, you could technically rent out rooms on the side that you're on if you wanted
Yeah.
to make even more money. And it'd be fire. Like the income would be great.
And like that's like for what she did, that's like pretty dope. But it's like she understood what she wanted. And most people, like when you're in college and you're sharing them dorm rooms, and you finally get off campus, you have your own space. You're like, yeah, I don't want to have a roommate again. Um, but for
Yeah,
her, it's like I don't care about that.
for her, she
And
was
that's
able to put
and
up with it because she was a consultant though.
yeah,
So she
and
traveled
that's
she
the thing.
traveled Monday through Thursday.
So she wasn't even home.
Nah, she was barely home Monday through Thursday. She was, at the client site, and then just back on the weekends to where she was even barely home. Then, pre-corona, she's a partier.
Yeah,
I don't know if she's on
yeah.
this right now, but she's a partier. So, when she gets back Friday or gets back Thursday evening, she's out and about
Yeah.
and with friends and stuff. So she you know, doesn't really feel the effects of renting out the rooms and not really living alone, since she kind of lived in hotels anyway.
No, that's pretty dope, bro. Imagine like
Whew,
like
actually, let me not get too comfortable.
renting out the rooms. If you don't mind sharing, screw it, make that money. That's a different, like I
Oh
said,
yeah.
different perspective. You know, great
Oh yeah.
question. Not in my nature. It said I'm in St. Louis, Missouri. By the way, plenty of multifamilies. That's awesome. Who we got? We got Destiny in the building. We got Eat
Ooh,
at CT.
I got one more
Or
plug too, actually.
oh yeah, go ahead.
So another way to make money off of a property that you, let's say you live in, but you don't want to rent out the bedrooms. There are sites to where you can list, if you have your place nicely decorated, your place looks dope, you have a great view or something to sell, or like basically something that's appealing of your property, of your house, besides, well, other than like decorations and view or location, things like that, you can rent out your space by the hour. There's a site called Pure Space. There's another one called Gigster. There's another one called Spacer or something like that, where people who, let's say, video, do a photo shoot, host a dinner or anything like that, they will pay you by the
Wow.
hour just to use your space.
Wow.
And that's something that I do like with my condo, because I don't want to Airbnb my condo, because I don't want people like sleeping over and all that stuff, or um, sleeping in my bed and all that. But I do have it on Pure Space, and right now I think my fee is 55 an hour. So somebody
Yeah.
will come through for 4 hours in that day, rent it for 4 hours for that day or whatever, and I make boom, a little over $200, and then my cleaning fee is $35. So I'm making good 250 probably just in a 4 hour time frame on a Saturday when I'm not doing anything. I might be going to brunch, and I let somebody come in, do a little photo shoot. They pay me the 250 through the platform, and I'm at brunch. My brunch is paid for. I go back home. Everything's good to go, like all good to go. That's another great way to make money without having to rent out the bedrooms.
Okay. So that's something I didn't know about. So thanks for dropping those gems because that sounds
For sure,
pretty
man.
damn legit.
For sure. So I actually have my neighbor.
Yeah.
I put her on a peer space,
Yeah.
and her place, as a woman, her place is definitely a lot. I wouldn't say nicer, but it's just decorated a lot more feminine, and just, it looks better. Like, it looks like a whole vibe. Her spot is dope. I won't even lie. She took a lot of the business I was doing, because I was maybe bringing in like 800 a month,
What?
off of Peer
Yeah.
Space alone, just from just from like weekend rentals. So like Saturday I'll have a photo shoot. Sunday somebody want to do a music video, like a local rapper who wants a condo view is like, all
Yeah.
right, I want to shoot my music video. They need it for 4 or 6 hours. The fee's 55 an hour. Cool.
Yeah.
But her, when I put her on game, her spot blew up. Like, blew up for the most part, where she was making like $1,400 a month just off
Wow.
of letting folks use her space for a couple hours here and there to shoot photo shoots and music videos, to where she even got to the point where she's what they call, instead of a super host like Airbnb, Peerspace
Yeah.
is a power host. So she became a power host. Peerspace actually had an event in downtown Atlanta, and they invited her to come speak on the panel because she had so many great reviews and was bringing in so much money off of the space. They wanted her to kind of speak on the panel in regards to it, and her making $1,400-$1,600 a month. Basically, it was enough to pay her mortgage and still be able to live in her spot. Like, she slept in her spot every night. They might just have it for 2-3 hours, like maybe on a Tuesday, or 2-3 hours on a Saturday. And it's kind of like, if you doing it that often, and you don't want to leave people in your spot that easy, you just, put up a little camera in the corner, boom,
Yeah. Yeah.
in the living space or whatever. I actually just invested in a camera too, so I have a camera as well. So I have a Peer Space actually right now that started at 1 o'clock and ends at 3 o'clock, and that was a quick $150. And I'm not even home, like, I'm out of town. So it's just like, cool.
Whoa.
Yeah, man. And so I listed
Okay.
on Peer Space, I listed on Gigster, I listed on Spacer. But Peer Space is probably top. That's where I get most of my bookings from. And I think it's A1.
Wow. So give those names one more time for those sites for people.
Yeah, let me see. Put it in. I probably even have a invite link. But
In fact, if you can type it, type it in your
yeah,
comment section, and I'll pin it. But yo, that's like some dope information. That's a plug that I didn't know about. I'm pretty sure like other people can use that's in here listening. One question: do you have to own the spot, or can it be a place you're renting out? Just like, okay, that finesse basically.
no, you don't have to own it.
Y'all, hey, y'all listen, y'all. Did you guys hear that? Like, you guys can utilize the same app. I'm going to utilize it because I didn't know about it, but I'm definitely going to utilize it now.
That's the site, peerspace.com. It's pretty A1.
Okay.
And let me see if, probably won't be able to, but let me see if this works.
Hold on, you guys got me? You guys still on? Okay, there he goes.
All right, but boom.
You added it?
Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna work though.
I pinned it, so I pinned the name of the place so people can keep up with it if they want to take a look at it.
Pin the referral link. That'll be the better one, so I can get my referral bread.
There it is. Pinned. And y'all go visit Peerspace. Give my boy some referral bread. You know what I'm saying? Yo, appreciate that gym, yo. I did not know about that.
Yeah, man, it's just a great way to make a couple extra $100 and not have to really do too much. I mean, people come in with their equipment, camera, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
All the time I have folks who are quote unquote models, and they would just want, boom, take a couple pictures, or a couple local artists who want to do a music video.
Yeah.
And it works out. Like, people just boom pop up from 1 to 3 or 12 to 6, and you just, sometimes if they're cool, they don't mind me like just kicking it in the corner, out their way.
Yeah.
Other times,
Yeah.
I'll dip for the couple of hours and just come back.
Yeah. No, that's, again, great information because I am pretty sure, as well as a bunch of other folks, did not know about that. What is it? 20 said, "Bro, don't kill a dream." They modeled him. 20 funny. Yo, so we got some more people that joined in. that was not in my nature's question that we just kind of elaborated on. It kind of went to a couple different segments. Sugar
Hmm.
Ray, check chasing, TV, that's a lot. 20 came in here. Sweet B5, uh, Chai's, Kalichi's in here. Uh, Petro, that's the actual name. Petro, thanks for joining. Uh, W. Harris, Richly Rich, Palm Beach, proud of you, bro. Hey, thanks for joining, man. Rich, you got some love out here, man.
For sure.
Yeah. So if you guys are new, basically me and Rich, is our second week of doing this. Um, basically a Q&A session, real estate investing. Ask anything you want regarding real estate. If this is your first time trying to get into the industry, or if you just have general questions or anything like that, feel free to drop them in the question section below. We're here for probably another 20 minutes before time runs out. This is our second session of the day. In
Hmm.
general, we're doing this every Thursday, 12 o'clock. I think I'm probably on 2 months now straight. So consistently coming here and yeah, and doing this for you
Good.
guys.
All
So
right.
yeah, just want to make sure we're good. So yeah, I think we had another question. Hold on, I kind of skipped
All right. What we
this
got? What
here.
we got?
Da, da, da. Tippy says, plus if you live there, you know what's going on in the house. Ain't no one fucking shit up. Yeah, that's true.
That is
Uh,
also very true.
let's see. Oh, okay. So GME 92 asks, he says, thanks for all of this. Looking to move into the area from out of state. Would you recommend buying off jump or renting first? So I guess he's moving into a new city or a city, and he's
Hmm.
trying to decide whether he should buy first or rent first. I would say it
I mean, I
depends
guess it
on
depends
like,
if you know the city.
yeah, like if you know the city, you might be able to jump into the market and know the different areas and different places to kind of put your money toward. But if you don't know the area, I would suggest renting. Um, take that
Yeah.
year or maybe do a short-term lease, 6 months, and at least have a place to lay your head. And while that 6 months to a year is going on, you use that time to diligently look for something or learn different areas of where you should be buying. It's nothing wrong with renting if you're doing it with a purpose, right? If you keep the purpose in mind
Yeah.
that you're going to buy, just utilize that time to, get familiar with the market. Because one thing you don't want to do is not know the market and have somebody, an agent, tell you something is a great deal, and you get into it and it's not a great deal, and you find out that that area is not really the greatest of areas. I wouldn't rush that aspect of things because your money is your money, and you
Yep.
don't want to be bamboozled. I've been bamboozled before. Don't be bamboozled. So yeah, if you have to take the time, take the time. Damn, y'all got questions out here. Uh, yeah, what do you think about that, Rich?
Yes. I mean, if you're moving to a new area, a new city, and you don't know the areas or the city that well, definitely just rent, as opposed to buying something in an area that you might regret later.
Yeah,
And then again, like you said, there's nothing wrong with renting. Again, if I could do things all over again, I would not have purchased my condo. I would have purchased another um, income producing property. Well, I
yes,
guess this is income producing peer space, but it's not bringing in as much as if I would have just bought a rental property or something else. So hopefully at some point I can either rent out my condo, and I would just probably rent a nicer apartment in the city, um,
yeah,
just to use my capital towards something that's going to make me more money. I always like to put my money towards something that's going to make me more money. Buying a property to just live in it and not make any money off of it is a waste of money in a sense, unless you're raising a family or something, um, or it's in an area where like appreciation is dumb crazy.
yeah. We got another question from 20. What do you think renders a better ROI, a duplex or multifamily property? Also, if it is a duplex, what are the issues that come in with investing into a duplex? I can't get the whole question on here, so it kind of cut off. But Just make sure I read that correctly. Basically, what renders a better ROI, duplex or multifamily? And if it's a duplex, what are the issues that come with investing into a duplex? Uh, I'll give a quick little spiel because we actually got a couple questions here. Um, Duplex wise, you want to make sure it functions as a duplex. There's houses, there's single family homes that have been converted into duplexes. And just because it has two doors and two separate, entryways and things like that doesn't make it a true duplex. So you want to go look at the bones of the place and make sure that, does it have separate electric panels? Does it have separate plumbing? Does it have separate heating and air conditioner? Right? Sometimes you'll find that people have converted a single family home into a duplex and it's only running off one panel. Well, if it's running off one panel, you got two different tenants. How are you splitting the electric? If it's only got one plumbing system, how are you splitting the water bills? Same with the HVAC system, right? If you got central air, where's the thermostat? Is it on the first floor? Is it on the second floor? Does the first floor control the second floor? Those are the kind of things you want to look for. A true duplex is going to have everything separated to where you don't have to worry about it, and it comes with two physical addresses with the post office, right? So you got 123 Main Street, 123 Main Street, and you got 123 Main Street. Damn, I messed that up. Anyway, you know what I'm trying to say. But basically, it might have two different addresses. Everything's separated. That's what you should look for in a duplex. If not, then just be wary of the homes that have been converted to duplexes and make sure that the utilities and things like that are going to function in a way that's going to be beneficial for you when you get tenants in there at a later date. What do you think, Rich?
Yeah, I mean, as far as like which one has a better return on investment, I think percentage wise, you might get more bang for your buck, a cash on cash return with a duplex.
I was going to say duplex.
As opposed to, I mean, it kind of just depends though. It's the safer route or safer bet when you're in the multifamily range. So if you're in if you have a 10 unit plus, then it's kind of safe bets there as far as, one person doesn't pay, then you're not asked out kind of thing. Whereas with a duplex, one person doesn't pay, that's 50% of your income gone.
You can still cover the other.
But usually when that person or when both, people in the duplex are playing, you can make a higher percentage return on your money than with multifamily. But with multifamily, you get that safety net of, I have other people paying, so I can still make, because even if you own a 25 unit apartment complex, you still most likely have a mortgage unless you bought it cash. So, you're able to still make your mortgage if 23 out of the 25 people pay their rent, or, even 20 out of the 25 people pay their rent, as opposed to with a duplex. I mean, you most likely can still make your mortgage off one, but again, that's a 50% slash on your income for the month if one person is not able to pay.
Right. Plus, you think about vacancy rates on multi-units. If you have high vacancy rates, depending on how many units you got, and you're not able to fulfill at least 50%. I mean, just think about the money it's going to cost you on a monthly basis. So I agree. Duplex, 50%. You still got the other one renting it out. Not saying multi-unit is not the way to go, but compared to a duplex,
Multi-unit is definitely pretty dope.
We got Kalichi. Would you purchase a brick rental property built in 1898? What would you look out for? Structural issues, foundation issues.
I was gonna say brick. Foundation issues, lead paint.
Yep.
You want to make sure that if it has the original paint job, that it doesn't have because they used to use lead in the paint. So as long as they don't have lead paint, so you don't have any lawsuits on your hand. And then foundation issues, like you said, and then also check the roof, make sure the roof isn't outdated, and all of your large appliances, so like your heating and air unit, make sure that's not outdated. Make sure your water cooler or water heater, I'm sorry, isn't outdated. Your rooftop, foundation, and lead paint. Those are the 4 or 5 things I would look out for in a home that's built in 1898 or whatever it was.
Yeah, make sure you get some good insurance too. Uh, yeah,
Yeah.
make sure you get some good insurance on those homes. Let's see, we got another question. Actually, we got some more people that joined in. I want to shout you guys out real quick. We got Kenny K, Check Chasing Comprende. Devin's been in here. Sank, can't, sorry. Denzel, Boop ZB, Boss Face, Merriman 77, Morgitis, Boss Face, Fab Fresh, Prince, Prince Emina, Prince Emina, Billiam C, 20's here, the Summer Joe, Sneaker Fiend just joined us, Law Johnson, Coach Johnson from high school. What's going on, Coach?
How many people we got on here?
Right now it's 11, but it's only tracking what's live. But there's an overall count of people that join throughout the duration of the whole live. So it's way more than 11 because we've had way more people pop in, pop out, pop in, pop out. So
yeah, it's not updating on my side.
yeah, at the end of the live, it'll show how many people in total joined throughout the whole hour. So like last week,
Gotcha.
we had over 100 people that popped in and out. It might not have been 100 people at one time, but they popped in and out. So that's a good thing. Let's see. Let's get back to these questions.
Let's see what other questions we got.
We got, is Zillow a good site to use? I'm looking to either buy or rent to buy a home in Dallas, and they're very overpriced. Zillow.
In Dallas?
Yeah, Dallas. I'm talking about Zillow. I guess because if you don't have MLS access, got to compare properties somehow. So Zillow, Redfin, trying to figure out about Zillow.
They asked, is Zillow a good website to use? And use to do what? Are you using it to compare prices? Are you using it to find a renter? Are you using Zillow to find a realtor? Like there's a lot of things that Zillow does other than just like look up an address of a home. So I definitely use Zillow, but I also compare it to other home search websites. So like homes.com or realtor.com, like you said, Redfin. Trulia, like they all pretty much pulling the same information. Sometimes one may be a little more updated than the other. But yeah, Zillow's pretty straight. Of course, they even add in that portion of the Zillow estimate or Zestimate. And that's a good feature. Of course, it's not always accurate, but it at least gives you some type of ball on what the estimate price of the home should be.
Yeah. And if you're using it, if you're using it to comp properties, like Rich said, sometimes there's a variance between different sites. If Zillow says $200,000, I'd probably put a buffer in there, maybe 5-10K. Say, the property could be worth maybe 195 or 205. Just add a little buffer in there. But for the most part, those sites are pretty accurate. They're not the MLS, but they do pull their data from the MLS. So just keep in mind a buffer, if you will, depending on where you are. You can always cross-reference between different sites. So
I think
again.
Oh, no, I was gonna say, I think like the best way to compare what you're paying for a property or what somebody's trying to sell a property for is look at the ones that have actually sold and what the price for that is, as opposed to looking at the Zillow estimate of that property. So if you're looking at a property that is, for sale for 200,000, and you look to see what sold in that immediate area, and you see one that's a very similar house on the same street for 20, then you know that you're not too far off the market on the property for 200. You're actually probably even getting a deal because you're getting it for $20,000 less. But if you see properties in the area are selling for $140,000, and somebody's trying to sell this one property on the same street for 220, then it doesn't really, your comps aren't really the same. So I wouldn't use this estimate as far as for my comps. I would just check to see, because there's a map you can check to see what the houses in the area sold for that's next to your property.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I would use.
Yeah. Definitely look at the comps, guys. Anything sold, they are your benchmarks. We got another question from Devin. Well, not another, but Devin's got a question. He says, this is probably directed towards you, Rich, because you're in the Airbnb game. Has your Airbnb business slowed down due to coronavirus? What are you doing to hedge against declining travel?
Yeah, so Airbnb, I think for my Airbnb properties, those probably a hard freeze just for the month of March. Um, and then after that, things kind of pick back up. I wouldn't say back to 100% capacity, but I would say around the 80, 85, between the 70 and high 85 range capacity for travel. Um, and anything that kind of hedges that, I mean, no, because you're making, pretty decent money off Airbnb alone. A slight drop from 100% capacity to 80 or 85% capacity still allows you to make a good amount of cash flow. But
Yeah.
if you do want to hedge it, you could, of course, put it on other sites. If you're just listed on Airbnb, you might want to also list on VRBO and HomeAway. Of course, I think HomeAway bought VRBO, and so they're good. So if you list on one, you're listed on both. That kind of helps out with booking so that you make sure you're booked. You have two different platforms that people are looking on. I think you can also list on Expedia and all those other sites to kind of get more visibility so you can increase to back to 100% capacity, or you can even, list your space on PeerSpace to where you can do hourly rentals from there as well to kind of hedge your bets or, hedge any losses due to COVID virus.
Yeah. Yeah. Good question, Dev. Guys, we got about probably another 10 minutes or so. I say 5 to 10 minutes. If you got any remaining questions, feel free to drop them. Like I said, we got another about 5 to 10 minutes, maybe. This is our second hour. Me and Rich been talking on here. So if you guys got anything else, feel free to drop it. Also, any suggestions in regards to what you guys want to see on some of these shows and what we're talking about. Just offer suggestions. Again, this is for you guys, and so we want to provide as much value as possible. And if this format is fine, let us know. If you guys want to see something a little bit different, let us know. But yeah, like I said, this is just for you guys. We're dropping gems as much as we can to help you guys out as much as possible. It's also to help ourselves because, talking amongst each other, like I learned a couple things today I didn't know. I didn't know about PeerSpace. Renting out your own property for events and things like that for an hourly rate that people are going to pay you for. I had no idea about that. It's something that Rich was able to provide. So I know of me, I hope you guys will utilize that plug as well. Sneaker Fiend's got a question. Any pointers on FHA loan? I'm going to apply soon. FHA. I love FHA. I'll say a little something. So FHA, great loan, by the way, especially if you're trying to get in for your first property. You're not putting a lot of money down. One key thing that I can say, if you're buying FHA with the purpose of renting it out, and you are utilizing a 203K to do your renovations, be weary of the rent rates in your area because, as you know, your 203K that's associated with the FHA loan, which is your renovation costs. Any money you put into the property, let's say you're buying a property at $100,000 and you're doing the 203K and you got $10,000 that you're going to put into the property. Well, now that property, you're going to be paying $110,000 on it. That's going to be reflected on your mortgage. So instead of you paying $100,000 for the house, you're paying $110,000 for the house. If the rent rates in the area are $1,000 and you just added $10,000 to your mortgage, now your mortgage is probably going to be $1,100, maybe $1,200, depends, right? And if the rent rate is $1,000, well, guess what? You're not going to be making any money in that area or very little money. So Keep in mind, be wary of how much you put into the 203K loan. If the purpose is to rent, make sure you check the rent rates and make sure that however much you are planning to spend utilizing that 203K doesn't, it's still going to allow you some room to make money on the back end when you do plan to rent, because whatever you put into the house via 203K, it tacks onto your mortgage on the back end. That's my 2 cents on the FHA. Other than that, it's a great loan. What you got?
So I think for the FHA, I personally have not used my FHA privilege, I'll call it, yet. But I do plan to. It's a great way, but do realize that when you use FHA, you're probably going to pay not a lot, but just a couple more dollars in the upfront of the closing costs, just because of the riskiness of only putting down such a small percentage. And then you'll also probably be hit with PMI, which is was that property or what's that? PMI, property mortgage insurance.
Property mortgage insurance.
Yeah, so basically the lender, your bank is going to make you pay an extra, let's say $40-$60 a month as insurance, just in case you default on the loan, just because FHA is deemed a little more risky. But it's a great loan product to get people their foot in the door. Like I said, you can buy something FHA and rent out the extra bedrooms or put it on peer space, or you could rent it out. Of course, be wary and not make sure you don't mention that you plan to rent it out to your lender.
Don't, please.
Yeah, otherwise you would not qualify for the FHA loan because it's for people who are intending to live in the home themselves. But you can always say after you purchase the property, is like, hey, my job relocated me, so I need to rent the property out now. Or you can say, hey, my mother. Well, never mind. You can say, hey. Yeah, don't lie on your family members. You can just say, like you had to relocate, or you're starting a family, you need a bigger property, things like that, to where you have no choice but to rent out the property. So there's always flexibility if things change, or if you just want to rent out the property. So if you're scared that you might get hit with some type of mortgage fraud or anything, you can definitely just say, hey. Of course, they don't usually check if you're renting the property out or not. I think it's like a 10% chance of them checking. Don't quote me on my statistic, though.
Yeah. They definitely didn't.
Yeah, that's it I got.
I did that, and they didn't check on me. Just put a couple bills in the house's name, and nobody ever called me. But again, it's up to you as far as your risk tolerance. You definitely can tell somebody. You can't tell them, hey, look, I had to move or something like that. So let's see. We got 2 o'clock. I'm assuming we're probably gonna have like another 5 minutes or so. We did get a couple people that just joined. Waiting on another. Oh, we got one more question. How do you fund draw process for repairs? I guess he's just talking about hard money. How do you fund draw process for repairs? You got to front the money. When it comes to hard money, if you're utilizing a hard money lender, you have to front that draw. So if you have a renovation, for example, that's $50,000, damn, we got less than 2 minutes. I'll answer this really quick. If you got a renovation for less than $50,000, they break that $50,000 up into draws. So let's say you break it up into 10K draws. That's 5 10K draws. That means you have to go spend $10,000. Call your hard money lender, say, hey, I've spent $10,000. They're going to come out, verify you spent it, and then they're going to refund you back the $10,000. And it's a repeat process for the duration of the renovation. So yeah, that's my take. We got less than 2 minutes left. Rich, you got anything else to add to that? Like 10 seconds?
Yeah, check out my blog. I am Thinking Rich. I have a webinar coming up very soon on real estate investing with, I want to say, nine other real estate investors, some people who own hotels, and they're all Black investors, which is dope.
Yes, sir.
Getting started in real estate. Again, I'm interested in the hotel investing because that's pretty dope. I saw a young lady who's leading that webinar. Tickets are on sale. It's an event you don't want to miss. I'm going to be dropping some gems per usual, and the link is in my bio for those tickets. So definitely grab yours, and check out which webinar or which person you'd like to listen to, and learn something, man. These are great people to learn from, especially people that are actually in it. So